Buddy, Uncle Max here from Life to the Max. I'm not going to worry about having flashy, fancy videos. I'm just going to knock them out. There's so much good content we have. I need to get it out here. And here's one of them. There's some information on zipper repair that the great Ranger Rick had in his Ranger Digest books. I've done another segment probably 2 years ago on how to do that tent repair or zipper repair on a tent that my sister has. We got it out, we did some maintenance on it, and I'll try to find that video sometime and I'll put a link up here. But right now, why am I holding this? Because I had to jump start a motorhome with my SUV, and these are jumper cables, and the case zippers had broken and opened up, so there was the slide fastener was only on one side of the zipper and not the other. And so I had to somehow get it back together. And I was able to very carefully do that. But instead of just leaving it as is, people are going to think, well, that's a normal robust zipper. No, it's a cheap case, but it contains this really nice cord nicely. And I want that zipper to continue to work. Thank heaven for multi-tools. I whipped out the multi-tool and was able to make it work. But I want to make a mark on this, a label. So I'm grabbing a marker. I'm going to put a note in here saying, weak zipper, be gentle, especially around here. And then I'm going to cover it up with plastic, or not plastic, but clear packaging tape. And that way the Sharpie stuff won't rub off and you're thinking, what are a bunch of those letters? I can't even read it. I'm not even going to bother reading it. This way, hopefully it'll be clear and obvious and protected with packaging tape. Now, what is this? This is a fantastic jumper cables, 25 feet of 2 gauge. That means they're big, heavy duty. You could start a semi with it. Very handy thing to have. The nice thing about this is that when you see somebody stranded on the side of the road and they had battery problems or whatever, they just needed a jump start. Instead of being a very small shoulder, sometimes those highways are dangerous and scary. People get hit all the time. First responders, maintenance people, tow trucks, they get hit and killed all the time. And it's sad because people are just not paying attention. I've literally seen video where somebody's driving and when his eyes are open and he's driving right toward the cop's car where his camera is and they run right into it. And that's a phenomenon that people tend to drive and go in the direction they're looking. And I don't know what they were thinking. Wow, there's some police car. When I see a police car, I'm thinking, oh crap, did I do wrong? Am I speeding? What am I doing? Let me make sure I'm safe. So I go, steer away from them. In fact, out here in the West, there's signs that say, pull over, slow down for emergency, tow, and maintenance vehicles. So you don't run into them. We don't want to kill people. We want to keep them safe, and you want to be safe. So let's be careful, slow down, move over into the center lane if you're in the conflict lane or the first lane. So you want to avoid zipping by them at a high speed. I'll tell you a story. I was doing some long haul stuff, about 10 hours a night. I was hauling newspaper bundles, very long distances, and I had to drop them off and then turn around and come back. And on my way back, I noticed his car stopped and stuck in the median. So a bunch of us pull over and we're walking down, checking out, make sure everybody's okay. And I'm walking back, and some guy in the fast lane is going so fast by us that he hits the hand of some guy that was walking in the median just near that white line, which is something he should have done. I'd stay far away from that white line as much as possible. Well, he got his hand smacked. So I had my jump kit and I pulled out some ice bags and some gauze and kind of held that ice pack in place, told him he ought to go to the emergency room and have it x-rayed, but he probably, I happen to have some pain reliever. So anyhow, he probably didn't stop at the nearest one. He probably said, well, screw this. I'm going home and I'll get it cast up if I need to or whatever. But you've got to be super careful. That's scary when you have a car flying past you at high speeds, not paying attention, not realizing a bunch of cars are there, and get so close that he clips the hand on a guy.
Get out of the road!
Over here, man. If you're up here and anybody hits the back of my patrol car, it's a good chance you're going to get caught somewhere in between that car and your car. I don't want that to happen to you. Just like that, see? Just like that.
So the nice thing about these is you can pull over in front of the person. It's just like you didn't notice them until the last minute and think, oh crap, I don't have any space to turn around. The next exit is a lot of miles away. I'll back up to him. I'll pull over onto the shoulder and I'll back up to him, But these are long enough that you can actually hook the front of your vehicle and go all the way around to the back and hook up to theirs. Now, we're going to show you a technique on that. In fact, I'll just tell you now, there's a poem, a little saying that I made up that helps me remember the proper order of doing this. You start with the red of the dead, meaning you take the red clamp of one end of the cable and you hook it to the red terminal of the dead battery. Start with the red of the dead, then follow the red, which means you stay on the red cable and go over to the other red clamp, and then you hook up the red on the jump vehicle, the one that's working. Then you switch to the black, which means then you hook up the black cable on the jump vehicle and follow it back. So you start with the red of the dead, then follow the red. Start with the red of the dead, then follow the red, then switch to the black and follow it back. Now there's debate on what you hook it to when you come back to the dead vehicle. Do you connect it to the negative terminal on the dead vehicle, or do you ground it? And most manuals and most cars, owner's manuals and repair manuals, they say you hook it to a ground, meaning that the whole body is connected to the negative terminal. So electricity is running through the body of the vehicle, which means that the engine should be grounded. So if you can find a bolt, a non-painted bolt, a heavy-duty bolt that is a good anchor for that negative terminal or that negative clamp on the battery or of the cable, then you can hook it to that. Some vehicles, even newer vehicles, they have a dedicated negative ground connection to them, so you don't try to hook them up to the negative terminal on the battery. So once again, start at the red of the dead car, follow the red to the donor vehicle, switch to the black, then follow it back, and ideally hook it to a ground, non-painted, and usually you'll see some kind of a little spark, which means, okay, I think I've got a good connection there. And then you wiggle. I usually jiggle the cables to make sure they get a good bite, especially in those terminals on the battery clamps, to make sure that they really kind of dig in and get through any corrosion and stuff like that. So these were not very expensive. I did a search online and I found these. These are just been so nice. And the case is kind of crappy, but I got it to work now and it contains it all. But 25 feet of very thick gauge, which means it can handle the distance. It can handle heavy batteries like in a big diesel truck, things like that. So anyhow, that's just my tip for the day. This happened to be called Red Hound 25-foot booster cables. If we can find a source for these, I will see if we can't put them on our cool finds page. And if not, good luck finding it. If some of you found out where it was, I can't remember where I got it from, but that's the brand. But anyhow, they're really nice. They're worth it. And we're not very expensive. I mean, some of these were, $80, $100, $150. These were very inexpensive compared to that. I don't know why or how I got such a good deal, but God bless the Chinese, maybe. Anyhow, hopefully that's helpful. Let's be safe. Let's have the right kind of equipment. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of things on cars, on the right kinds of things you need to have in your car. And this will be a good one because of the versatility that we just mentioned, and the heavy gauge, and being able to get plenty of amps from the donor vehicle to your vehicle that needs a jump start. So anyhow, enough of that. We'll catch you later. Max out.